I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Welcome into a Friday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin. And as you can see, we're joined by a guest off the top of the show today. It is, I'm told, a PAC champion on the 2005 Westminster baseball team.
So your boss DJ let you know that we were teammates on that team, huh? Because everyone equates me as a basketball player, but didn't know I played some baseball too. So
Played some championship baseball, Coach.
yeah, on a really good baseball team, that's for sure.
You know, but people that were tuning in might be a little bit more interested that you were the head coach of the Girard boys basketball team, and we definitely appreciate the time and having you come on to help us preview this team.
Oh, anytime, guys. I appreciate it. And like I said, what you guys are doing is great. DJ and I go back a long way to our Westminster days, so I'm glad to see he's doing something to fill a gap in the high school coverage area, because it is, the papers do what they can, day to day with games, but it is nice to see you guys with the multimedia, and it's good to be on your show.
Coach, my first question for you, obviously looking at last year's team, you guys were in a lot of games too, and the record doesn't quite speak for how competitive you guys were in a lot of games. And looking at it too, it was a very junior and sophomore heavy roster last year. So in a kind of meet the team segment, first off, are you excited for what this year's going to bring with all that experience coming back? And let's kind of go through a meet the team segment, older and younger players.
Yeah, we're very lucky. We have a lot of guys back. The only guy we lost from last year's team was Nick Cario, who did start for us and did a lot of good things. But the bulk of the guys we have back are our seniors and juniors, and a lot of them are going to be 3-year, 4-year letter winners. So off the top with our seniors, Ashton Pozaga and Jordan Grant, I believe they are both 2-year letter winners and obviously on their way to 3-year letter winners. Two kids that have really worked their butts off to improve in every aspect. And then our bulk of our group are our junior class. Guys like Thomas Cardero, Bobby Algiers, Gus Johnson, Ryan Fitzgerald, some newcomers with Jordan Johnson, who was a sophomore last year but got minutes later in the year. And then Mike Palmer, who came in this year. He'll be new to us this year. That junior group's really going to carry us. And a lot of those guys have been playing since freshman year. And, we did have a lot of close games last year. I think what people don't realize is even though it was their second year playing, they were still a lot of sophomores on the floor, still a lot of growing pains. And when you didn't have the offseason because of COVID 2 summers ago, we had the Trumbull County health shutdown. It just felt like we never got our footing. And hopefully with a full season, full offseason, lots of experience, those sort of things that popped up early in the year and kept us out of a lot of close games, we'll get over the hump with those.
And, when you talk about all this experience bringing back and then you look around at the scope of the 88, a lot of the teams in the top tier of this conference lost a lot of players to graduation. You come into this year as one of the more experienced teams in the league. Talk about the 88, how you expect it to shape up this year and how you expect to contend in it.
I'm sure every coach that's come on here has talked about the NEA. It's going to say the same exact thing that I'm going to say, but that's just how tough it is. It's a well-coached league. It's very balanced. There is no easy game, and not that any conference in the area, has any easy games, but it just feels like ours is top to bottom really, really tough. Yeah, Struthers ran the gauntlet on everyone last year because they were just super talented and did a great job. But I do think this is as balanced of a league. And you did mention graduation. Obviously, Struthers graduated a good amount. South Range graduated a good amount. But teams like Jefferson, even Hubbard, Poland, us. There's a lot returning there. And I know just because a couple schools graduated some and are in a different, time frame than we are, it's still going to make for good basketball. And I look forward to seeing, the teams that did graduate a bunch, what they're able to bring back, because I still think they're going to provide a good challenge.
Coach, looking at your non-conference schedule, I mean, including opening up with Ursuline too on the 30th too. So we'll plug that in. That's the November 30th, a Tuesday night opener with Ursuline. Some other great non-conference games. I'm seeing Lowville, Salem in the early going. Talk about this non-conference schedule, and do you think these kind of high competitive games are going to really help you in developing this team this season?
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot about being prepared and ready for March, and I think that's what a non-conference schedule is also willing to do. Salem knocked us out of the tournament last year. So when we had the opportunity to schedule them during the regular season, we wanted to do it. We have a lot of respect for those guys down there, and that's going to be on a neutral floor at Poland in the United Way Classic. So that'll be a lot of fun. When we come up with the non-conference schedule, we understand that we want to make it a little tougher. And that goes right along with the Northeast State schedule, because that's going to be tough too. And I know most of the Northeast State teams feel they're fully prepared for tournament play because of the conference, but we also want our non-conference to get us ready for that as well.
Coach, when you look at the players on the roster and the team that you're kind of having, what are some things that you guys want to improve on from last year, grow on from last year, and build on from last year?
I think late in games, we didn't do a great job of finishing it off, and I think we'll do a better job this year because of experience. We want to play a little faster this year. I thought last year we had to play a little slower, a little more of a half-court game, and that's not the way we want to play. And in the summer, that's not the way we wanted to play at all, and we didn't. So I'm hoping that this year we just play a lot faster. And I think defensively we can get a lot better too, provide a little more pressure. We're deeper than we were last year. We have more bodies. I just think on the defensive side of the ball, we're going to play at a much faster pace and force the issue on the offensive end as well.
Talking about the summer work that you guys put in, and it always starts with summer when trying to implement that new game plan and that kind of change of strategy. How did the summer work go, and talk about some growing points that you saw within the team?
Well, I'll be honest with you guys. When the season ended last year, I called the guys that were coming back into a meeting, and I gave it to them pretty good as far as their commitment to us. I let them know that I felt like the commitment wasn't quite there, and they really responded. I was very proud of them and how they responded in the summer. And one of the things we talked about is just how our skill level needs to get better. Our skill level needs to rise up and be a little better than it was. But also our overall commitment, not missing workouts, coming to any summer league. We host the summer league at Girard. So coming to those, any shootouts we had on college campuses, making sure we were going to those. And I just felt overall they responded to me kind of calling them out and telling them that it wasn't good enough. And I've been really proud of this group for doing that, because that's not easy to hear. It's not easy to hear that, it just didn't go the way we wanted it to go. But at the same time, it's a credit to those kids that they've come right back and proven me, wrong, that they weren't putting that commitment in, because they really did that this summer. And it was just, it was a really good off season for us. And hopefully that leads to us having a good season.
I think the hard work in the summer is a good segue to my next question, because the more and more we covered Girard athletics, and we've been with you guys for a while at YSN, the more we kind of realize this community, this school, every athlete in it has this kind of hard-nosed work ethic, kind of always chip on their shoulder kind of mentality. Do you think this basketball team really kind of embodies that work ethic and that mentality?
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, that's something we really harp on here. A lot of our kids play multiple sports, so you're seeing a lot of the same kids, and all of our coaches are harping on the same exact things that we want from our kid. But a Girard kid overall is just a tough kid. It's my 10th season at Girard, and I can honestly say I don't think I've really had many, or if any, soft teams. They're going to play very hard. They're going to provide everything they possibly can for you. And what's been great this fall, we had great success all throughout. We had cross-country runners head to state. Our volleyball team made a district final. Our football team won a playoff game. And we want to roll that into the winter momentum. And we are all very much rooting for each other to do well. So that toughness comes, from every sport, and we hope to carry that over into our winter sports season.
From both what you would assume a player's perspective and from a coaching perspective, what makes being in Girard so unique?
I think that family atmosphere is very unique. And I know a lot of people use that cliche and use that term, but at Girard, that means more than anything else. We are a very tight-knit community. I'm lucky to teach here, from our teaching staff, our coaches, all the way through. I think once you get here, you realize how special and unique it is. And I really saw that as soon as I got here, but especially when the football team made that state championship run. I could see the crowds and the people that were at those games coming to our basketball games not long after. It's just a very close family-like atmosphere, and it's not a cliche here. They live that, we breathe that, and we're hoping to continue that tradition here.
Another perfect segue into my next question, because you talked about the atmosphere and the crowds that you guys get at Girard. How excited are you to kind of get back to an open gym and get back to being able to feed off this amazing student section 1? And then crowd support that aren't students as well at Girard?
I was actually, my assistant and I were going through some old games last year, and it didn't hit me until about a minute in. I was saying to myself, boy, our crowds were light last year. Well, it was because of COVID. No one was allowed in. And, it made me realize how lucky we are that we do get the support. But it was eerie last yeyer, walking into a big game, and there was no big game feel. We were lucky to have 40 people in the stands, no student sections. Not all of those things really matter. And I know a lot of the pro and college sports have mentioned how nice it is to have fans back. I think the high school atmosphere is as good as any when it's packed and the students are there. And I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot more of that. So I know Girard will support, and I'm hoping when we go on the road, even though it makes it tougher, I hope the other teams and the other schools provide that support as well, because I really missed it. And I don't ever want to see empty bleachers again. That's not why we do this.
Naturally, you don't want to see the empty bleachers, Coach. And, of course, you got those 3 straight home games to open your season with Ursuline, Lowville, and South Range. We know the Girard community is faithful, and they're going to show up well. But if there's anybody on the fence about going to these games or going to any of Girard's home games, what's kind of the sales pitch to come out and check the Indians this year?
Well, I just think hopefully we work hard enough to make the community proud. But at the same time, these are a lot of the kids that have been coming up through this program, have started since they were freshmen. And hopefully we play a brand of basketball that's going to be a lot of fun, but at the same time, they're going to continue to work hard and ultimately reach our goals when we get to March. But, as far as the sales pitch is concerned, the best thing we can do is go out and play as hard as we can and win. And that other stuff will take care of itself.
Coach, this is something we like asking the coaches that we talk to, especially ones that are former athletes. What would Coach Hannon tell player Craig Hannon if he could go back in time and give your younger self some words of wisdom?
Probably 2 things, and I think my high school and college coaches would agree: hit the weight room and play a little more defense. I was not known for my defensive prowess, and I was not known as a very physically imposing person, but I would go back and most certainly tell myself, hit the weight room a little more. And I think kids have a great advantage of that now. I think we really harp on that. Back when I played, it was more of a luxury, but it's something I wish I'd have done a better job of. So if I was coaching myself, those would be the first 2 things I would tell myself.
We know every great coach likes to surround themselves with a great staff, so this is your opportunity to shout out your assistants and all those other big proponents that you have for the season coming up this year.
My staff, and I'm sure everyone feels the same way for their staff, but I am very lucky to have Mike Delben on my staff. He's been a coach for about 45 years in the area. He's a Girard Hall of Famer as a coach, coached at McDonald, coached multiple girls teams. He's been on my side now for 6 years. I hired a new coach this year, Pat Cardin, coming over. He was a Springfield assistant. Pat was looking for a new spot, and I was lucky to scoop him up. I'm really happy to have Pat. And then a couple other guys I do need to shout out. One is Phil Kilbourne. He does my 7th grade for me, but he is in the gym with us at all times, especially in the summer and off season. Phil does a lot for us. And then the rest of my junior high staff, Zach Fideski and Joe Vivolo, anything I ask, they do. I'm really lucky here at Girard and outside of the staff. That there's tons of people always willing to help the program, help the kids, and that's really important. But I've had some continuity, but I've also had new blood, but it never feels like I have new blood because they come right in everything that's expected of them, they do.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, helping us preview this basketball season. We look forward to covering you all season, and we know you're going to have a successful year. And we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Let DJ know I said hello, and tell him he still can't catch up to my fastball.
I'm sure he'll have something to say about that.
All right, take care, guys. Have a great day.
His fastball. His fastball's good. His team's good. Going to be exciting times for Gerard on the boys' side of basketball.
Yeah, no doubt the NE8 is going to be a very exciting conference this year, and it's going to be a gauntlet to see who comes out on top of it, too. A lot of the big teams lost a lot. A lot of the younger teams are returning a lot, so it should be a very fun year.
I like that he brought up Jefferson because I honestly think on both sides, boys and girls, Jefferson is a little wild card. I mean, Jefferson had a really solid team last year. I got to broadcast their game at Poland. They're scrappy. They're physical. They have pretty good shooters. So don't sleep on Jefferson being a wild card on the boys' side. Definitely don't sleep on him being a wild card on the girls' side. I think they're going to have finally, like their football team, they're going to have an opportunity to kind of show some people that they can compete in this NE8.
Not to mention Jefferson, I think, forced a double overtime with Waterloo in the playoffs too. So I mean, it was a great team that was able to contend with some other great teams.
They're bringing almost everybody back. So Jefferson's that team you can't sleep on. That's for sure.
No doubt. As we venture more into the NE8 here, as Scott Slavesco is popping on here, and we're gonna venture into girls basketball now into the NE8 a little bit with Hubbard. And Coach, how we doing?
Good. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing so good, and we're happy to have you on.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. I appreciate that.
As Coach, we know last year's team featured someone with a similar name as yours, too, that was a pretty good player, too. We're interested in seeing how her development was over the course of the summer, as well as a Meet the Team segment for you. Shout out some of those big-name players that are also going to be a part of the team, as well as some other younger players that you think are going to get some playing time this year.
Well, we had first off, we had a great summer. I had a lot of girls put in a lot of time. And we went to a lot of different places. We played in a couple summer leagues. We went down to Sherrodsville, Ohio. We played a lot of games down there, took JV and varsity. We did a great job down there. The girls got to really see, what programs are like that, put the time in and that kind of stuff. So it reflected for us. I just thought we had a, tremendous summer after having no summer last year. I got commitment out of my girls. As far as girls that are going to, I know you mentioned my daughter, Peyton Slavesco. She had a good summer for us too. She is one that, we look to contribute a lot more this year. Sophie Murphy, I think she has the tools to be probably one of the best, if not the best, big in the NE8, in the Northeast 8. I think she could contribute for us a lot this year. She did a great job last year. She was second team Northeast 8. So I think her, Mary Francos, really stepped up for us. I put the ball in her hands for 2 years. She is, she's learned trial by error. And, I think this is going to be a big season for her, handling the ball for us, taking care of the ball. When it's time for her to, hit some shots, I think she'll be able to step up. I got 2 other juniors I'm looking for. Liv Reese, I think, can contribute this year for us. Eleni Grillis. These are girls that have been getting playing time the last 2 years. And I think it's time for them to, the work that they've done the last 2 seasons. And then in the off season, I think they're going to step up. I got a couple sophomores, actually a few sophomores. I think Rihanna Barr is going to be a key part of our defense this year. And her offense is, gaining strength for her. But I think she's going to be a key component of our team this year defensively. And then whenever she could help offensively. Phoebe Rusnick, I think is going to step up for us as a sophomore. She's going to give us some minutes here and there. And I think but at the end of the season, I think she's going to help out, quite a bit. And then I can't forget my two seniors, Grace Narcam, which everybody knows Grace from softball. She's a tremendous softball player. She brings everything that you want out of a senior to the court. She hustles, she plays hard, she's a team player, she's about the team first. And she's a great basketball player too for us. Then I have Gabby Jones, another senior. I think she's going to contribute too for us this year. And I know last year we had no seniors, so it was kind of nice that they were my two juniors last year and they're my two seniors. So I basically have had them, two girls like that for 2 years, and it's tremendous to have them in the program.
Coach, like you said, your seniors, they were juniors last year, and they were really the upperclassmen of the team with you having those seniors. How much do you think going through that is going to help their ability to be good leaders this year and really be able to lean on their leadership on and off the court for your team?
Well, that's one thing. I will say, I coached boys for a long time, and then coming to the girls' side coaching, those two girls kind of take care of the whole locker room aspect. They're hands-on. They're very good with all the players. They talk to all the girls, and this group here, which they love to be around each other. We practice 6 days a week. We got games 2 days, and then they want to be with each other when they're not at the gym, and that it's just awesome because it starts with those two. They reach out to all the girls. They take care of all that kind of stuff, and the team has grown with them, and I'm so excited for to see what the year has for those two girls and the rest of the team.
I think one of the biggest compliments of this team was how competitive they were, despite how young, heavy they were last season, too. And it's another one I wanted to shout out that was a sophomore for the team now coming in. And you said junior year, Sophie Murphy. When there's two types of players that I think either boys or girls, it doesn't matter. Coaches will always say, if you have that good ball handler, typically a point guard, and a good big, everything else can typically figure itself out. When you have someone like Sophie Murphy's caliber that averaged 13 and 7 just as a sophomore, how much does that help keep everything else flowing on offense and defense?
Oh, it's tremendous. I mean, the majority of our offenses flow through her, which is, understandable. She not only, she is that person when it comes down to it, we go to her to get a bucket in a crunch. She works at, hard. I've seen this girl work since she was in, I don't know, 5th grade. I've seen her working as a little dribbler coming up through Hubbard program, and she puts in the time, and I'm so thankful to have her on my team. And but our offenses do run through her, and then this summer it was very surprising to see how they played together so much. They started to branch off of everything. They were playing basketball, and it was exciting to see, just the different things they would do. And, we're super excited for, everything that's going to go on.
One of the things that is so special about Hubbard is the community support and the fact that they rally behind all their athletes, not just one sport. You'll have a full gym this year. And what I'm getting at is, how excited are you to get back to a full gym this year and be able to feed off the crowd after what we went through last year and what every team kind of went through last year, not being able to have really much of a home crowd there in the gym?
I'm super excited just to get the fans back. Have all the support. We had family and, close friends last year in the gym, but it's just going to be so exciting just to get everybody, the community members back in. I seen a guy actually this morning, in one of my stores I was working at, and he was like, I'm coming to the foundation game next week. I'm so excited. And this guy probably hasn't been in the gym for about 5 years. And it's just that kind of stuff is exciting. And I got to give a shout out to our student section. They started this student section during volleyball and football, and the road closed. They're really bringing it, and I know they're going to be coming to all of our basketball games. They even made trips to Jefferson for volleyball, so I'm sure they're going to be making some trips to some girls and boys basketball. So I'm super excited for that. Just for our girls that are on the team to experience that, to go through that. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, Coach, no doubt. And I mean, we know with the Hubbard community how strongly they like to support their athletics, especially when there's a good product that is put out too. So talk to me too, with COVID being a little bit more lax, we've seen it this year too, especially with more crowds being allowed into these venues. How excited are you for these girls? I know you hinted at it a little bit, but how excited are you for the girls and the community to kind of witness this team for basically the first time?
Well, you know what? This is my third year here at Hubbard as the girls coach, and this is for the majority of these girls, this is the third year in my program, and I think from seeing what has happened this summer and just seeing the girls put the work in and the time in, I think we're going to surprise a lot of people. I think we're going to show that these girls have put the time in. They've committed to this program and to the community. And I'm so excited for that, just for the girls to see that. And then the community members and the family members just see that.
Talk about, every time I go into Hubbard's gym, I look around and I say, this is just a unique place to play basketball. It's a little bit a little bit more deep than most gyms. And you guys get the student section right behind the hoop, which I'm sure a lot of teams aren't really exactly used to. What kind of a home court advantage do you think Hubbard has because it has such a unique gym and a unique atmosphere?
Oh, I think this year it's going to be a great home court advantage for us. Just seeing what that student section did in volleyball and help them girls to, win some games and then, distract, the other team and that kind of stuff. But I think it's a very awesome gym, awesome place to play in. I had a coach tell me the other day we have one of the softest rims in the area. So that's great for shooters. So we'll take it. And, with Sophie kicking the ball here and there, we need to hit some shots.
Looking at this very, very tough NE8, and there's no doubt it's going to be a gauntlet for most teams too, both on the boys and the girls side. Looking at it though, for the Hubbard Lady Eagles to grab a piece of that NE8 crown, what's the team going to need to do? And just kind of give us a preview of your schedule with that as well.
We're going to need to be consistent. We're going to need to be able to compete every night. You obviously you got to take your hat off to Poland, South Range, Struthers. I think got a very good program over there. Coach Nieder does a great job over there. Jefferson, going up to Jefferson's always tough. And you know what? We just need to focus on us. And I think everything else is going to take care of itself. And we just need to work hard, get after it right from the beginning, and just compete. We have right off the bat, we have Camel coming into Hubbard, and then we go to Ursuline. And, we were in that Ursuline game last year to the last 4 or 5 minutes, and we teetered there. The youth showed a little bit. And, the girls I know have had that game marked on their calendar for a while. And then right after that Ursuline game, we jump right into I think we go Poland, Struthers back to back, Girard, they're always a tough opponent. So Lakeview, they're another opponent. We split with them last year. But that Northeast 8 is a very tough conference, and we just want to come out. Like I said, we want to work on ourselves each day in practice, get after it, push each other. I talk to my girls all the time about pushing each other. We push each other, good things happen. And, we've seen it so far for us. Good things are happening here at Hubbard for the girls program. And, I'm just super excited for them.
Obviously, head coaches get the limelight, they get the interviews and everything, but we know that they would be nothing without a good support staff and assistant coaches around them. So I want to give you the time to highlight your staff and the people that kind of make this Hubbard girls basketball program what it is.
Yeah, first off, I'd like to, I wouldn't be the coach I am right now if I wasn't under Chad Mound. He gave me a lot of tools to be the, kind of coach I wanted to be. I coached under him over in Western PA for a long time. But I just want to say, that. But at my coaching staff, I have a great, I got a great 7th grade coach, Coach Folks. She puts in the time. She's a teacher at the school. I actually got a 8th grade coach, Zach Long. He played for me the whole way up from 5th grade, played with my son the whole way up through 5th grade. So he's a new addition this year. We're super excited about that. And then my son, Shannon Silvesco, he's on my coaching staff. He is, an assistant for me at the JV varsity level and through the younger programs. And he does I bounce a lot of things off of him. And then I have John Chovin. This guy's been in, you talk about bleeding blue and white, and that's him. He's been at this game for 40 some years. I'm excited for him because he's excited, and the girls love this guy. And, he puts a lot of time in, and then I got Matt Murphy. He is another varsity assistant, program assistant. He does a great job with all of our girls. Pushes the girls, talks to them when he needs to. He does a great, superb situational stuff for our program. He's just a good person to have around. And you know what? I can't say enough about my JV coach, Ryan Caesar. I played with him when I went to Hubbard, and he was my point guard. And you know what? He has put in so much time with these kids over this summer, and it's shown. The girls gravitate towards him. He's a good person to have. I'm super excited to see, as he grows in his coaching, coaching career. But, he's put in a lot of time. He's actually taking over some new roles, doing a little bit more on the defensive end on the varsity for us this year. And, we're excited about that. And I'm just so happy to have all of them guys. I see those people a lot. And I can't say enough about, my youth program. We start in kindergarten and we go the whole way up. So if it wasn't for them coaches down there at that youth, K through 6th grade, this would never be possible. And I got to give all them coaches a shout out as well.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, helping us preview this Hubbard girls basketball team. We look forward to covering you all year, and as the year goes on, we know that we'll talk to you again real soon.
Hey, thank you, guys. I appreciate everything you do for girls basketball. I really do.
Coach Silvesco, the head coach of the Hubbard girls basketball team, joining us on Running Point, brought to you by Ysn, brought to you by Greenwood. It's on Ysn.
Yeah.
Obviously brought to you by YSN, but it's also brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin.
Yeah, as we had 2 great coaching interviews to start, too. We got boys and girls covered, too. Craig Hannon with the Girard boys and Scott Silvesco with the Hubbard girls, too, as venturing into the NE8.
You know what that means, Hubbard? You're taken care of.
Yeah.
We got boys and girls. Check.
Yeah. Coach Bornemus was interviewed last week, so the Hubbard Eagles are taken care of on all fronts now. So as we work diligently to get all of our coaches and area schools covered, this is going to be a fun NEA conference, though.
And Hubbard, stick with me. Hubbard reminds me a lot about another team that we've already previewed on the girls' side, Lowville, because Lowville went and took their lumps last year. They didn't have any seniors. They were obviously young, but you could see potential there. I see the same thing happening in Hubbard, where they didn't have any seniors. They definitely took their youth lumps. They took their hits. But that experience pays dividends now because all those girls got to experience last year and then come back the exact same roster this year. And it's going to be a fun Hubbard basketball team to watch.
In the game I remember I called with Hubbard last year because I only saw the girls team once, and it was when they played Cheney. And I remember Peyton Silvesco and Sophie Murphy putting on a clinic. Sophie Murphy on the inside, Silvesco on the outside. And that's the thing, is Peyton can shoot from the outside. She could shoot mid-range. She could drive, too. I mean, she's a great scorer, too. Averaged just under 10 as a freshman. And that's going to be great, seeing the development of a freshman in Silvesco, a sophomore in Murphy. And, You got a couple more years with Murphy. You got 3 more seasons, including 2 more with Peyton. And I mean, that development from freshman to sophomore to junior year is always huge.
And I got to see Peyton a handful of times on the volleyball court. Peyton Silvesco is just a pure athlete, and you can't teach athleticism. You can't teach that kind of skill, and that just is going to help her tremendously on the court as well. And then they have good senior leaders that he brought up. Grace Narcam, she's been in the Hubbard sports community. It feels like she's been there for a while because she's pretty much been a starter since freshman year on the softball team. So she's going to have her senior year, and they're going to have good leadership, and they're gonna be fun to watch. And you also contribute that to the NE8 being a lot more wide open than it was in years past. Because elephant in the room, big players are gone from a lot of teams.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know what? You look at what Hubbard was able to do too. Very competitive in a lot of those games too. And the ones where you kind of took your lumps in were basically just South Range and Poland. But now with South Range and Poland, you talk about Izzy Lamparty, you talk about Jackie Grisdale. There's some big name players. They're young too. Hubbard's more experienced, and that's what we're saying. Everything's going to level out, we feel like, in the NE8 too, and that's why it's going to be a fun, competitive conference this year.
And I haven't seen, obviously in summer, you make the teams, but Hubbard's a big physical team. They have some size to them, and I'm looking at Poland's roster now, and I'm thinking there are a lot of small guards. Mary Brandt has some physicality to her as a scoring guard, and she can definitely score. I'm not knocking Poland, but I'm looking at a Hubbard's roster now, and I'm thinking they match up a lot better with Poland now. Not because of Jackie Grisdale, but they lost two other seniors. They gave them kind of some size and physicality in Liz Herdman and Ella Harrell. I think in this game in particular with Hubbard, they're going to miss those two as much as they miss Jackie Grisdale too.
Can't teach height in basketball. That's the biggest thing any coach will teach you. You can't teach height. And when you got players that are 5'10" like Sophie Murphy, it just helps.
South Range is going to be more of a smaller roster now. Izzy Lamparty was 5'10", 5'11". You lose her, and you look at some of their players, and it's like Emma Cunningham might be like 5'8". Lexi Giles is a guard, very good guard. We're not knocking the players. The size wise, Hubbard might be one of the bigger teams in the NE8. Jefferson has a big team too. Taylor Skinner coming out for her senior year.
And that's why everyone's saying kind of Hubbard and Jefferson, especially in that NE8, and that Jefferson team's going to be a wild card, especially on the girls' side, because they have a lot of height as well. And they were good last year too. So, I mean, it's going to be a very interesting, because those are the two really young teams in the NE8 of last year.
But you go back to you don't count out the winners until someone knocks them off. So you're never going to count out.
That's why it's going to be fun every night.
You're never going to count out Poland or South Range just because of what they've been able to do, the tradition they've been able to build. So you're never going to count those guys out. But I feel like last year, outside of the games they played with each other, it was pretty much 15 to 20 point, like we're just head and shoulders better than the NE8 while these other teams are growing. And now the gap has gotten a lot closer.
Well, every single one brings something so unique to, and we talk about just how well coached this conference is on both sides, and we know what Coach Nieder does over there at Struthers too. And I mean, a great program. Coach Fitch with South Range, legendary Coach Blanche too. You had that off-air interview with him, and it was a great one at that too with Coach Blanche. And I mean, he does a great job over there with Poland, and he kind of brings that mentality where it's like he only cares about the team. He doesn't care. He doesn't care necessarily what anybody else's opinions are of the team. Right. He cares about his team and just that.
That's what I love about Coach Blanche. If I ever ask him a question that
he's just flat out. He's a straight shooter. He's a straight shooter. But every coach is so unique in this NE8 too, and that they bring such unique styles to it, and that's why it's so fun watching basketball, especially girls' side.
I'm excited to talk about Lakeview too when we have their coach on in the future, because Maggie Pavlansky, we talk about her a lot during volleyball, but she's an excellent basketball player as well. And that's talking about a junior that's been with the team for 2 years now, 2 years of basketball experience. Their offense and their defense is going to run through Pavlansky. And they're a team that Hubbard themselves split with last year. So if we're talking about Hubbard, we have to talk about Lakeview.
Pavlansky's going to be one of those names we're going to be mentioning a lot this year, I think,
because everywhere. Look, there's a Pavlansky on staff on Canfield girls. Fishel has a Pavlansky on his staff.
Yeah, they're everywhere. But I'm saying too, just because of what with Grisdale gone, with Lamparty gone, there's going to be a lot of big names now, big shoes to fill in this NE8. And like I said, I think Maggie Pavlansky has the capabilities of being one of those big names we talk about in the NE8. I think Hubbard has two very good ones in Sophie Murphy and Peyton Silvesco that you could we'll see how the development is. And I'm very excited to see opening week 2 and just as the months progress, how they've developed over the summer too, because you can only assume that they've gotten better.
Taylor Skinner and Jefferson.
Yeah, no doubt.
They're definitely
there's going to be names that we're going to be talking about here a lot.
New big names in the 8 because you never go a season without someone stepping up and having a big year. But the NE8's going to be fun.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And that's just going to be who can grab a hold of that brass ring is going to be the biggest question too.
Maybe it's gold.
Yeah, I guess if you want to go gold ring.
We don't do no brass.
But no, it's all about those interconference games too, and how many games you can win within the NE8 is going to be the biggest thing for all these teams, both on the boys and the girls side. Those non-conference games, they're going to be hard for every single team in the NE8. That's what I love about this NE8 conference as well. The conference is tough enough, and there are some teams that might just sit back on their conference schedule that's really tough and just be like, okay, we're going to use our non-conference schedule to get some wins and build some confidence. All these NE8 teams, they're scheduling mammoth teams on their schedule. And you might see very well a lot of these NE8 teams make some pretty solid runs once the tournament starts too, because we know everybody's in when it comes to basketball, and it's only to your benefit to schedule up and schedule tough teams, especially when you're young, heavy. And let's face it, Hubbard still is a very young team. Only, I believe he said 2 seniors, I think Coach Silvesco said. So you're looking at still a very young team that is just going to continue to develop, and you could continue to get this team better. I don't even think it's close to reaching its ceiling yet. And I think it's going to, if this team and these young players keep on progressing to their potential, they could be very good.
Going to be very interesting to be in the nest. I think Jamie and Romo might have them taken care of for basketball, But if I can sneak in there for a game now and then,
I'm sure I'm gonna cross Hubbard's path at least sometime on my tour.
If Jamie and Romo can just slide over to Springfield for one game, and
I don't know if I need to invade the nest as much as I'll just catch him on the road somewhere. I'm sure I'll catch Hubbard at some point this season.
Your own. You don't need a new nest.
Yeah, I know. I'm not gonna abandon my nest too.
And I know. Nest, by the way, just previewing the rest of the show, we have Brian Beamy coming on at 1, right? 1 o'clock?
Yeah, Coach Beanie coming on.
After him, we have a pre-recorded interview that DJ did with Jeff Wilson. So we're going to have Fitch taken care of completely in this whole show.
Yep, no doubt. So it's going to be fun, too, as we get ready to premiere, too. Coach Wilson's interview, too, with DJ. That should be fun as we cover both the Falcons coaches today.
Yeah, so Falcons taken care of. Eagles, now you're taken care of. But we also have some other stuff to get to today, Ty, because there are playoff football games, and we got to pick them. Like we do every Friday, we will pick these games. And like we started last week, we have the fan vote on Twitter. Running Point fans last week went 100%. They went perfect for all their playoff picks, and they're going to try to do it again. As we look at where the fans are now, we'll pick these games with you. We'll start with Canfield versus Cardin. Right now, the fan vote has Cardin with a 56 to 44% lead, so it's close. Fans are kind of split on this one. Ty, where do you see this one going? Obviously, Cardin is the class of that division, but Canfield just seems like they're on a roll this year.
The one game that stands out to me with Cardin was when Cardin played Ursuline too, and yeah, they did a great job of shutting down Ursuline's offense, and that's the big thing Cardin's always going to hang their hat on is a very good defense. But the biggest thing that I remember was that second half, more or less, Ursuline's defense was able to shut down Cardin's offense. And I don't know if you know anything about Ursuline's defense this year, but I won't say I'm not going to trash on it, but it's not a top 10, it's not a top 20 defense.
Yes,
Canfield's is, and I don't know necessarily if Cardin is going to have enough offensively to be able to score on this Canfield defense that not many teams have. Dover's scored 21 on them. That's the most a team scored on them this season. I mean, and Dover is an undefeated 13-0 team now at this point. So I still, defense to me is what wins big games, wins championships. It's an old adage, but it's true, and it usually does ring true, especially in football. You can't miss assignments. Defense is always huge. I gotta still feel like, I know it's going to be a big defensive game. I know Chardon's going to bring it, and I'm not saying that Canfield's going to be able to stick it, but I think Brock Lowry being an X factor and Canfield having enough on offense, I think they're going to be still able to score enough, and that defensive Canfield is going to be able to hold Cardin well enough that the Cardinals can still win this game.
Rock the banner, Ty.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're going with Canfield. I'm going to go with, I'd hate to kind of just echo what you say, but Canfield for the same reasons. I just think that defense is the difference from last year to this year. Last year, this was a 38-6 Cardin win. Everyone knows it just didn't. Nothing went Canfield's way. I have a very hard time seeing Cardin score 38 points tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Canfield's defense, especially colder weather comes along, I think it's going to be all defense that matters. So give me the Cards.
DJ and Gary Niddle will have the call there tonight. Once again, we appreciate we're sharing richly with YSU volleyball. They got a home game tonight, so DJ will step in and be the voice of the Cardinals for a night, and they'll have the call at 7:00. Canfield versus Cardin. Reminder that all these games are available on YSN for $9.99. It gets you access to not just that game, but every game on the network for this evening. So same thing tomorrow. Go to ysnlive.com, find the team that you're looking for. You want to scroll down past the sponsors, and you'll see a video player with a green kind of bar at the top of it that says get your tickets for $9.99. Click on that. If you are doing anything that is not $9.99, you are not paying for your game with us. There are some other advertisements that pop up on that sheet. We've had some people accidentally pay for Fubo TV. If it's not $9.99, it's not us. So make sure that you're just double checking what you're paying for.
Yeah, but no doubt get you 3 games tonight too. So, and I believe 5 tomorrow. So very good deal all around.
The other one of the other games tonight, this one is lopsided on the fan vote. West Branch versus Perry. West Branch with an 81% to 19% lead so far in the Running Point fan poll. And Ty, I can't disagree with him. West Branch has been on a unstoppable kind of trip this season. The lowest their offense was scored was last week with 33. I think they had on Poland. I don't think Perry can keep up. I think West Branch kind of rolls in this one.
Yeah, nobody is ready for West Branch.
I've been saying it all year.
Yeah, let's move along.
I'm gonna get you a shirt that says that.
Yeah, nobody is ready for West Branch, and I don't think Perry is either. Give me the Warriors in this one.
This next one, the next one tonight, of course, is Ursuline and Glenville. This one's really close in the fan vote. Ursuline with a 54% to 46% lead over Glenville. This one happening all the way in Euclid. Ian's making the trip. God love Ian, by the way, making the trip for us tonight on YSN. How do you think? This is a very good Glenville team. We saw what they did to Beaver Local. They beat Villa Anna St. John's last week, a team that beat Ursuline. Is that a fluke, or do you think Ursuline's in trouble?
Ursuline can be in trouble if they don't take care of the ball tonight. That's for sure, because this is a Glenville team that's already proven, especially in these playoffs, they're not going to miss opportunities if you give it to them. So the biggest thing that concerns me with Ursuline is just taking care of the ball, and that's if they can take care of the ball, limit those turnovers. I like the identity Ursuline's brought defensively and offensively since this playoffs have started, and I think if they continue that identity, they're going to be just fine in winning this one. But I am concerned about the turnovers, and Ursuline's been susceptible to giving them up too, and this is a team you can't give it the ball up to.
You know, I'll tell you, if this was week 1 of the playoffs, I never pick against the banner, so you know who I'm picking. But if this was week 1 of the playoffs, I would be a lot less confident in Ursuline because of their defense, as you said, had been suspect throughout the regular season. Their defense has stepped up so far in the playoffs against 2 pretty good offenses. They haven't been perfect, but I think they've kind of realized that we don't have to be perfect. We just have to make stops in key situations in the game. And that's what they've done against Canton South and against Salem, two really good offenses. So I think their defense is going to make enough stops in this game, realize they don't have to make every stop, and they're going to come out with a win.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be about the turnover ratio. I mean, like I said, Ursuline, I think, is the better team, but this is a very good Glenville team, and it's a Glenville team that definitely can beat Ursuline, especially if you give the ball up. So you got to be playing clean football
All I had
tonight.
to do to respect Glenville is watch what they did to Beaver Local. I mean, Beaver Local was a very good football team. Glenville just dominated that game from the whistle. They have, I believe, they have multiple Division I commits or offers on their roster. So a very talented Glenville team. We respect them, but we're not rooting for them. So if you're watching from Glenville, don't expect a non-homer broadcast because Ian's going to be all over Ursuline.
Yeah, no
Sorry,
doubt.
Sorry, not sorry.
$9.99 though gets you 3 games tonight too. So make
Right.
sure you tune in. You get a little bit of Division III with Canfield and 2 games in Division IV. And you got to remember the winner of this West Branch Perry and Ursuline Glenville game meet each other in the regional final next week.
Love an all YSN regional final.
Could be West Branch Ursuline. So
guaranteed someone in the state semis. That would
So
be
you
great.
spend $9.99 tonight. You already know you should be watching 2 games. Then if you're watching for West Branch, you should be peeking in at that Ursuline game, and vice versa if you're watching for Ursuline.
And then why not just kind of check in on that Canfield game? Might be the most competitive game of the weekend when you look at it. We go to Saturday, 5 games on the docket for Saturday. $9.99 gets you access to every game on the network that night. We start with Garfield facing off with Kirtland. And when you look at the fan vote tie, it's close. Kirtland has a 60% to 40% lead. Obviously, a lot of respect to Kirtland. They're on the nation's biggest winning streak. Garfield feels like they can really be competitive in this game for good reason. Their offense is unique, hard to stop. Their defense doesn't get talked about as nearly enough, but their defense is really good as well. How do you see this one shaking out?
Yeah, this is Divisions 5 through 7's day on Saturday. Kirtland's the one that has everything to lose is what I see. And going in it, they have the longest streak, I think, active in the country, longest one certainly in the state. They're going into this game with everything to lose. And Garrettsville Garfield's going into this game basically the same way they've gone into every single game this season where nobody's talking about them. Everyone's talking Kirtland South Range in Division 5, and that's fine. I think that's exactly where the G-men like it. Everyone wants the storyline of South Range and Kirtland, but I feel like Garrettsville all season long has had other plans, and they've always wanted to play this kind of spoiler role, and they've played spoiler for a lot of teams this year trying to go for perfect seasons, whether you look at LeBray or whatever, what have you. Beating big teams too, such as Warren JFK. So honestly, in this one, it's hard to pick against a team that's won 53 straight games. I mean, because you have to respect Kirtland for what they've done. How do you not? They've had so much success longevity wise. But this is a Garrettsville team that plays very similar style to Kirtland, and dare I say maybe plays it a little bit more unique. I think Garrettsville has enough to beat them, and I mean, I really do believe that. I've been kind of on Garrettsville's train the whole season, and I've not been afraid to pick against YSN schools. So this is
I know you haven't.
So this is truthfully, I do feel like Garrettsville can beat Kirtland, and I'm going to pick Garrettsville to beat
So
Kirtland.
proud of you, Ty.
and
Putting
make
on
the
that
upset.
white hat, rocking the banner today. And the rest of the games are pretty much, you better pick YSN or I'll roll over.
Garway's looking
Hush.
looking pretty good.
Hush. No, I think Garfield, the key to their game is they have to play a complete game, first quarter to fourth quarter. I mean, we've seen them the first 2 rounds of the playoffs struggle a little bit in that first half. They were down 13-7 at halftime in the first round to Shady Side, and then all of a sudden they were up 14-7 against Bel Air at halftime in last week's game. Both second halves, they exploded, and they turned those games to runaway. They scored 21 points in the second half against Shady Side, and they scored 30 points in the second half against Bel Air. So they've outscored their opponents 51-7 in the second half, which is great. It's a great stat, but you got to play every quarter if you're going to beat Kirtland. You got to be able to start fast. You can't be down at halftime. You can't get into this comeback kind of scheme because if you're trying to come back against the offense like Kirtland, you're just not going to be able to do it because they hold on to the ball so well. So I think Garfield can definitely play a full game. I think they're going to win. They can't find themselves down at halftime like they have in the playoffs so far.
Yeah, but I think Garfield's wanted this game too for quite some time now. So I think they want this game more than anybody else really realizes. But like I said, Kirtland has all the pressure on them. They're the ones defending the streak. They're the ones
on them for a while.
Yeah, they're the ones with all the pressure. They're the ones with everything to lose.
We said this yesterday. I just want to put in perspective how unbelievable the run that De La Salle had, which is the biggest win streak of any sporting team ever in professional college or high school. 151 games. Like, we're talking about how amazing Kirtland is, how amazing this run is. It's 53. We said it yesterday. They'd have to go undefeated state champions for 6 more seasons and win one game the next season just to tie that record that De La Salle over in California had. So I don't know if that record will ever be broken, but Kirtland's having a great streak. I think it ends tonight against Garfield.
It would be something if it does, and that's going to be Saturday night too.
So we go from the one Division 5 game to the other one, another opportunity for an all-YSN regional final because South Range is playing Garaway. This one is a runaway for the fan vote. South Range is up 96% to 4. So 4%. Someone picked Garaway.
Yeah,
someone was
did.
bold enough.
I'm not. I'm going South Range. I think we have a great chance of seeing a South Range Garrettsville Garfield matchup. And then at that point, then it's going to be very interesting too.
Well, then who do you pick?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
In that case too, I don't know, man.
Uh-oh.
It's a shirt that looks so good on Mike too. It might look good on me as well. I like the double G's, how they rock out too over there in Garrettsville too. But no, I think this one is definitely a South Range. But you got to remember, all these teams, all 4 of the teams in Division 5 that are left in this region, all undefeated.
Right.
So
someone's gonna get
two teams are getting their first loss too. So I mean, yeah, I know that you still got to respect Garaway, and we know Coach Yeagley's going to, and it's never a case of disrespecting their opponent, but you can't ever count out anyone can win on any given day, and Garaway's won every single game this season too. So
move to Division 6. LeBray has a really big matchup with a constant playoff kind of monster, Mogador, that seems to always be in these regional games. The fan vote has LeBray right now with a 64 to 36% lead. How do you see this Vikings Mogador game going?
LeBray's look very great on defense as well, and their offense needs no introduction. So they're the number 1 seed for a reason, and I think they're primed for a matchup with a certain New Middletown team.
Same message as Garfield, LeBray. You can't. Last week you came out flat against Brookfield, and then you put it on. You put it on them in the second half. So once again, it's a great stat. You were great rebounding from the slow start, but as you go more and more in the playoffs, you got to play complete games. You can't play a half a game. You can't wake up in the fourth quarter. So as long as they play a full game, LeBray is going to be able to handle Mogador. But you got to be able. You can't come out flat. If you can't get up for a playoff game, then what are you doing, right? I mean, like if you're not hyped in the first quarter for a regional semifinal, check your pulse because you might be a vampire. As far as I'm concerned. So yeah, LeBray's going to be fine as long as they just play a complete game and don't come out flat. The other Division 6 game, it's a runaway on the fan vote. Springfield up 96% to 4 against Columbia Station, a team that hasn't been in this spot since 2012. Thanks for Jamie Romo for that nugget, for that one on his pregame tweets. Springfield has been here before 2 years in a row. They've obviously been to the state championship 2 years in a row. How do you see this one going?
Springfield's on a mission, and they're trying to complete this mission this year because it's the last run for a lot of these seniors on Springfield's team. And if you need any more convincing, just look what they did last week too against Norway. And I mean, it's like I said, they've clicked into a different gear since week 3 from Geneva, and this is a scary team.
Said since that win against Geneva, you're not going to pick against the Tigers.
I'm not going to again. I'm going Springfield, and I think we're in prime. I said LeBray. I gave you the hint before. I said LeBray's got a matchup with a certain team from New Middletown, and that's exactly what's
It's
happening.
not really a hint. There's only one team in Middletown, unless there's some other secret team that we don't know.
That's what I said. I already dropped who's going to win in this one. I think it's Springfield LeBray in the regional final.
No disrespect to Columbia. I don't think we have to spend much time on this one. Springfield rolls. Columbia, they're getting there. They're making the steps as a program. You got to get there before you can. You got to walk before you can run. And I just think this is a mismatch. We go to Division 7 as JFK has an 86-14% lead on St. Paul in the Running Point fan poll. I think this one's a pretty quick pick too. JFK, they've been on a mission in Division 7. They've been playing nothing but bigger teams all year to prepare them for this. I don't think they slip up here against St. Paul. I think they walk away victorious.
Yeah, no doubt. I think they're going to be just fine as well too. And JFK looks like they're in another mission as well too, as they came up just short in the state championship. I think they're looking to complete it this year.
So 2 teams on a mission, and they'll try to win this week. Those are our picks. The fan poll will be open for really the next 24 hours. We'd love to see you go and make your picks on Twitter. Always make your picks with us too on the comment section, brought to you by Boardman Mitsubishi. If you want to come and just make a pick, even though we're done, we'll definitely talk about it with you. And then on Monday, we'll see how the fans did, see if they can have another perfect weekend in playoff football like they did last week. So we're going to take a quick break, our first of the day. And on the other side, we will start talking about Fitch basketball because we have both coaches in the can ready to go when we come back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Welcome back to Running Point, the Friday edition on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. And speaking of Austintown, we're going to be spending some time in Austintown for the next several minutes as we talk to Brian Beanie, the head coach of the Fitch boys basketball team. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. We even got this spiffy background for Fitch because we just like to take the Falcons.
Yeah, for sure.
I like it. Nice.
We like taking care of the Falcons very well, very well. Coach, I mean, obviously having a chance to see this team last year, we all know and what you lost with Todd Simons and everything, but I contend that there is still a lot of great talent on this team. And what you lost, though, but you're also gaining kind of a player in Devin Sherwood that you didn't have last season. Kind of preview what you got coming back with this team, as well as some of those younger players that you think are going to be big impact players down the stretch.
No doubt. I mean, losing Todd Simons, he became our all-time, leading scorer. And, he played 3.5 years for us. So that's definitely a loss. But people ask me, how are you going to replace him? Well, you don't do it with just one person. You do it with a multiple, number of kids. And I think we have that ability this year for a handful of kids to score in double digits. Last year with COVID, crazy year, games canceled, rescheduled, quarantine, this and that. So that enabled a lot of kids to get varsity experience. We played as many as 12 or 13 guys last year. A lot of them underclassmen, 2 or 3 freshmen last year that are now obviously sophomores. So we do have some depth. Not the biggest team. We never are the biggest team. We have one kid like 6'4", but that doesn't mean everybody else doesn't get after it and plays hard and stuff like that. Athleticism is definitely, our biggest thing this year. We can get up and down and run with anybody, but around that, we do have some nice skill. So we're excited about that. And you mentioned Devin Sherwood. He couldn't play last year due to injury, so he is back. And the one thing last year that killed us in a handful of games was the ability to shoot the ball from behind the arc. If we lost a game here or there within 4, 5, or 6 points, I look at the stats and I see that team had 6 or 7 threes and we had 1 or 2. Well, there's your differential right there. So Devin was our second leading scorer as a sophomore. He led our team in three-point percentage at about 38%, 39%, which is really good. So we are excited to have him back. I will say with football going to the second round, we haven't gotten our football. We got our football guys back beginning of this week. So we're still trying to gel as a group and stuff like that. But it will take a little bit of time. The biggest thing for the football guys is to get in basketball shape. There's obviously a difference between football conditioning and basketball. So it takes those guys a little bit to get their legs back underneath them. Other than that, yeah, it's an exciting group, no doubt.
Coach, you brought it up. Your roster is going to be full of athleticism and speed. And when you look at that, what kind of style of basketball should fans kind of expect from Fitch this year?
Well, kind of piggybacking off last year. Last year, we forced 8 or 9 turnovers a game in our press. And that allowed us to, get back into some games, expand the lead in some games. And a lot of those kids are back. So the goal would be to, again, get that up tempo going and stuff like that. But sometimes during the game, it just doesn't work out that way. But we're still looking to play a handful of guys and get up and down as much as we can, but also with the understanding that there are going to be times we're going to have to execute in the half court and probably see some zone from some teams. So it's not just up and down, up and down, up and down. It's, let our defense turn into our offense, but at times you still have to be able to execute.
Looking up and down this schedule, Coach, no doubt this is going to be a gauntlet of a schedule again of just high competitive basketball. But we know that's what you kind of like to do, especially in developing a team for the tournament. Talk about the schedule a little bit and how you feel it's going to help develop this team and get them ready for the tournament come the end of the season.
Well, I mean, unlike football, football now basically everybody makes it. But, in years past in football, you had to be careful of your schedule, that you had enough wins to get in the tournament. Well, basketball, of course, is different. Everybody gets in, and you need to challenge yourself to prepare for the tournament, but challenging yourself out of conference also helps you in conference. So, we're Division I. There's only 4 divisions in basketball. There's 7 in football. We're 2 in football. So there's nowhere for us to hide from the big boys, and that's fine. We relish that, but we're a medium-sized D1 school. But with only 4 divisions in basketball, you get lumped in with the Menners and the St. Ed's and those big schools that have twice the enrollment as us. So we have to get a challenging out-of-conference schedule. I mean, yeah, we can win a handful of games. We can win 15, 16, whatever, it's 18 games by playing a weak schedule, but that doesn't really do anything for the tournament. And by playing out-of-conference, the Madison Washingtons, the Glen Oaks, Hudson's, the schools like that, the Erie McDowells this year, those get you ready for the tournament. Win or lose, you at least see what you have to get better at, and you get to see your kids compete against those higher level enrollment schools. So I've been doing that the last so many years because really there's no choice but to. You have to. And we relish that, and we welcome the challenge, and we look forward to taking it on.
Your non-conference schedule will be tough, no doubt. So will your AAC schedule with all the teams in your conference. Talk about, from your perspective, what you expect the conference to look like this year, what some of the teams that you'll be playing for a conference championship will look like, and how you expect to contend in it.
Well, all of us know each other pretty well. Whether we see each other in the summer, in shootouts or team camps, the players all know each other. So there's really no mystery as far as what Warren and Howland and Boardman and Canfield bring to the table. Us coaches, us older coaches have known each other for a long time as well. So I know what we're going to get from them. Sure, personnel changes, but, you still kind of know what they're about deep down. Boardman's had a nice run here the last 3 or 4 years with some good players. He's lost some of them, but I still expect them to, compete. Warren Harding, you talk about athleticism with us. Warren Harding's got some crazy athletes. And, you put them on the floor and they're going to look to get out and press you and run and all that kind of stuff. So Warren Harding is always a challenge from that standpoint. Canfield is Canfield. From them you're going to get a lot of discipline. You're going to get a lot of sets being run and stuff like that. Howland, Bubon does a nice job over there. So there's really no easy game in the conference. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night. But like I said, I hope our out of conference in December prepares us as we lead into the conference beginning of January.
Coach, I want to give you the chance to shout out your staff, too, that we know helps along this basketball program. And I noticed you guys have some great participation coming in, even from the JV roster-wise, and that's always encouraging to see for our program. So I just want to give you the chance to shout out your assistants and some of those other big proponents in the program of Fitch Falcons basketball.
Sure. I'll go down as far as our youth program. I mean, our youth program that we run is really, really it's a well-oiled machine down here. We got a number of travel teams starting as low as second grade, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Plus we do another league, and, Brian Sully is my coordinator in that. We work together. Our middle school coaches do a nice job. We have 2 8th grade teams, 2 7th grade teams with that. Our high school team, obviously we have a freshman team. Coach Hudson's been with me a long time. I lost my assistant coach. He basically retired, and my JV coach slid over to become the girls' head coach. So I had to replace 2, but I brought back a face I had a few years ago in Marcus Higgs. Younger kid, does a nice job, brings the energy. And then Orville Simons, Todd Simons' dad, has been around the program a long time. So he'll fill in and be the JV coach. So, I'm looking forward to working with those guys this year. And it's an effort from the bottom up. We try to keep as many kids involved in it as we can. You mentioned the number of kids this year. I always tell our guys, the kids, the worst part of coaching is making cuts. And football doesn't have to make cuts. Track doesn't make cuts. But the teams that have to make cuts, it's a difficult thing to do. And we had a lot of kids go out. But unfortunately, you can only keep a handful of kids. But we kept a little more this year because we had a lot of kids that were on the same level. And hopefully we can develop those kids because you never know, what the future holds year in and year out. And you want to get enough kids on your roster because there's going to be injuries. Unfortunately, there's going to be sickness. So you got to have that depth on your roster as well.
Coach, when you have the staff that you do, and I don't think people kind of respect how much time coaches put in to a season. They just think you show up for a game or a practice and you do your thing. Talk a little bit about the time and the effort that you and your staff put into a season, and how excited you are to kind of get back into the workload and the time management that basketball season can bring.
Well, like in any sport, I always tell the kids, you seniors, you're going to be graduating before you know it. I mean, that's how fast a season goes. But there's so many things that go on in the off season. And then when you finally get to the official start, the workload increases. I was joking with my wife last night because I got out of here, late evening, and I was here since, 7:15, 7:20 in the morning. And I said, man, I'm tired already. And, we're still 2 weeks away from game one. But, you just got to know how to manage your time. You got to make sure you get enough sleep. You got to eat well, because you can wear down real quick, and there's been some years where it's like I've hit a wall, but then you just got to kind of regroup and mentally get through it. But it's a quick season. It's somewhat of a, it's not a long season. You play 2 games a week, but it goes by pretty quick when it's all said and done. But you definitely have to know how to manage your time, and, you'd have to know how to delegate as well.
When we look at your tenure at Fitch too, there's no doubt that the culture that you've instilled here of high competition too, and just athleticism in the basketball team has been very impressive. What is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself as a coach since you've started coaching here at Fitch up until now?
Oh, that's a good question. Each year seems to go by quicker and quicker, like I mentioned earlier. This is my 32nd year coaching at Fitch. I started coaching in 1990. I graduated in 89, so I think that's 32 years. So, I started at the freshman level. I played under Coach Fender, Coach Wash, Coach Conroy, then became JV coach, then became an assistant coach with Coach Conroy. So I basically have learned from those guys over the years, and then instilled some of my own stuff and my own philosophy. But, there's not really like one major thing that I would say. It's just a combination of things. You can't get too high. You can't get too low. Everybody loves to win. And I put enough time in where, I want to win, but I also understand it's a game and there's more to it than just winning. It's trying to mold the kids, try to teach them life lessons. If they become successful off the court after graduation, then I think I've done my job. That's more important than wins. But I've seen a lot of change over the 32 years. I've seen, the parent involvement is becoming more and more each year in all sports. Social media has taken sports to a different level. Back in the day, it was basically school, practice, game, and there really wasn't a lot of outside stuff going on. But today's world, kids have so much on their plate, outside of school, that you as a coach have to learn to adapt to that a little bit and understand that kids' situations are different. Each one is different, and they're different than they were 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So I think my experience over the years has definitely basically I've seen it all, and nothing really catches me off guard anymore.
Coach, as we piggyback off that question, talking about your reflection on growth of yourself, I'm wondering what if you could go back in time and give some nuggets of advice to yourself as a player, now that you know everything that you know as a head coach, what are some things that you would tell your younger self if you could?
As a player?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I mean, kids nowadays, they have so much more given to them and opportunities as players. Programs have developed. We have a fantastic weight room facility. We have an unbelievable weight room coach now. Back in the day, we never had that. I mean, it was basically you lift on your own. You had some semblance of a weight program, but we never had the facilities that we have now. Back in the day, when you played a sport, you basically played that sport, then you went on to the next sport. There wasn't a lot of off-season training. I wish, like, the teams that I played on had what these guys have now, the opportunities, that they have, because we were good. We were really good back in high school, but, having these opportunities, like I said, could have made us even better. So, I always tell the kids, you need to take advantage of what you have here. We have great administration here. We have great facilities here. Kids are starting to get it. They're starting to understand and appreciate what we have. So, for me as a player, I love my time here. We did a lot of good things, but we just never had the things that kids have nowadays.
Yeah, no doubt, Coach, no doubt. And looking at this team, though, going into this year, I think you mentioned the off-season work, and I think that's the biggest thing now we see is a lot of kids put in off-season work in sports, whether it be signifying one sport or it's just working out in general. What is kind of the biggest growth you've seen from these returning players, key points, Allen, Underwood, and guys like Devin Sherwood, who stepping back onto a basketball court now for the first time and trying to get back into it competitively?
Well, here's one of the problems with us being a middle-sized D1 school. It's not so much a problem, but these big schools, they don't have to share athletes more or less. They're so big in their numbers that a lot of these schools have basketball-only kids, football-only kids, baseball-only kids, for example, where we have to share here. And I've always been a proponent, and I'll never change my mind about this. I encourage kids to play as many sports as possible. You're in high school. Enjoy it as your 4 years will come and go so quickly. So for me, always each year, half of my team are multi-sport kids, sometimes more than that. So we don't really get our full squad until, the end of October when it officially starts. But some of the guys that we do have that are basketball only, it benefits them. That's just more time and more reps and stuff like that they get. So someone like an Allen Underwood, who's basketball only, a senior, he's made some progress. He really has. My other seniors, Roth, he's baseball, Sherwood's football, Evansville soccer, and that's perfectly great. And I support them in that. But, when you talk about a roster of 20 to 24 kids, there's probably about 16 of them that are multi-sport. So it is a little bit of a challenge because you don't have them for the full year. But then again, like I said, you're only in high school once, go enjoy it.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We definitely appreciate the time. Appreciate you giving us a little preview of Fitch boys basketball. And we look forward to covering you all season. And we know as the year goes on, we'll talk to you again real soon.
I really appreciate what you guys do. You guys do a nice job in supporting the community sports and getting out there. YSN does a great job of covering our games. Your partner in crime right there, he gets into them pretty good at our games. He's done a nice job. You talk about growth. He's gotten better each year. So,
but Coach, it seems like every time he calls a game, you have to sweat a lot because it's going to be a close one.
Well, that's the only way. That's the only way we like it here. We try to keep everybody entertained.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. We'll be seeing you real soon, Coach.
All right, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Oh man, what a conversation!
Love those coaches over there at Fitch. I might be a little bit biased, but yeah, I love those coaches over there at Fitch too. Yeah, for sure. No, it should be a very exciting season too. And you know what? If you need a sales pitch for this team, I mean, athleticism is exactly what you're going to be getting from this Fitch boys team, and they're going to be going 110% nonstop the entire game, and that's going to be always fun to watch.
He brought up a good point. I mean, 2 years ago, Devin Sherwood was a really good 3-point shooter. and he's going to bring some of the perimeter shooting that they lacked last year back to that team.
Yeah, and especially too, and what we saw, Underwood was really good, and he really started developing at attacking the rim and really driving to the hoop and making those shots. And if he's really good if he can get that kick out too, and you can get that 3-point shot opened up. Yeah, exactly too. And if Fitch can just get 30% of their threes, if they can just get a higher percentage, if they are taking 15 threes, hitting 30% of them, this is going to be a team that's going to win a lot more games just because that's that 3-point bugaboo that's kind of haunted them last year. But if they can hit those more consistently, I think this is a team that wins a lot more games.
I wonder how much they're going to be tempted to have the out of bounds play where you just run routes and Sherwood can just hit you with the ball.
No doubt.
Everybody just go.
The one thing about them is they're going to be frustrating to play because defensively they're in your face. They're pressing you
They press with
a
that
lot.
athleticism.
And when you have athletes like that, deep athletes, and I mean, I like what they did with their roster and how deep they made it with a lot of athletes too. So, I mean, it's going to be that press a lot.
You saw them a lot, so you can attest to this. They're really good at reading the passing lanes. So they break on balls really quick. So things you think will be open, you throw, and that athleticism breaks on the ball, and then all of a sudden you have a turnover.
I call it ball hawking ability, but I mean, it feels like there are safeties on the court as well. But no, they cut the passing lanes off really, really well too. And I mean, that's where you talk about athleticism can kind of make up for it too. Because even if you're a little bit late to that, you could still cut off the passing lanes if you can make up for it with athleticism too. So that's the biggest thing too. And we saw a lot of steals, and when you're pressing too, it's very tough for teams to get out of the press too, and you got to be disciplined on offense and very good at passing to get out of it.
They'll have a monster schedule, but they will have their I was going to say teeth sharpened. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
the most came out sheath sharpened. I don't know.
No,
they'll have their teeth sharpened for tournament time.
I'm excited for a lot of these home games lined up. Glen Oak's coming to town. Erie McDowell's coming to town. So
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah, Santa Claus will be coming to town. There's a lot of great games on this schedule too that I'm excited, and I'll be on the docket for a lot of them too. So I'm excited.
Fitch fans, don't go anywhere because we also have a interview that we're debuting right now. DJ Oakley, our CEO and captain, kind of caught up with Jeff Wilson, the head coach of the girls basketball team over in Austintown. And we're going to play this one for you and debut it and enjoy this exclusive Coach's Corner with Jeff Wilson, conducted by DJ Oakley.
Hi, everybody. Welcome once again to a Coach's Corner brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. It is time to reconnect some loose ends here. A guy that, when YSN started, was one of my first interviews on the network, and here we are. We come full circle. It's Jeff Wilson, now at Austintown Fitch, the head girls coach there for the Hoops team. Jeff, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great. How are you, DJ?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. It's good to see you again. Obviously, we've kept in contact over this time, but the last time we saw you, on a Coach's Corner, it was with Crestview boys. From there, you had a stint with Cardin Mooney, your alma mater, and now you go to where you work. So kind of one of those things, like I love seeing the progression of it, but I love seeing the fire in your belly once again for coaching basketball and being the lead dog. Talk to me about the process that's been over the last few years for you.
It's going over to Mooney was a great experience. Kerry Palermo is one of the best coaches in the area, and he's my cousin. That's not why I'm saying that, but he is one of the best. And you never stop learning. I mean, I'm getting older, and you don't stop learning. He's a great coach. And then last year, I came back with Coach Beanie, who's also a great coach, one of the best in the area, and one of my best friends. And that was great coming back home to Fitch. And then the girls' job opened up, and thought about it. And I coached girls at the beginning of my career for 11 years, and so 10 years later, I'm back at it, and we're loving it.
I love hearing that. And again, the girls are going to love what you bring to the table. A lot of energy, a lot of passion, and you've got a great group. You've assembled a great staff. Talk about your staff before we get started on your team.
Yeah, you know what? One of the coaches I coached with at Mooney, Andre Edmonds, he's our freshman coach. We don't have a freshman team, but he's helping out with JV and varsity with our bigs, and he's a great guy and really positive. John Dubeck, who previously coached at Struthers, is our JV coach. John does a lot of coaching with AAU and now at Fitch, and another young guy who knows the game really well. And Julie Ostalash, who Coach Aaron Blatch, another great coach, hooked me up with down at Crestview. And she's our assistant varsity coach, and girls love her. She's, she just brings a lot of positivity as well. And then Renald Ray, who's our volunteer assistant, is back from the previous staff, and a lot of basketball knowledge and very dedicated. So I'm really blessed. It's a loyal staff. Everybody's got each other's back. There's no ego, and just really excited. It's like starting over,
I love hearing that. And again, if you don't know Jeff Wilson, you don't know the animated things you're going to see on the sidelines, but it's all for your team. And these girls, I think, are going to respond to that. Talk to me about this. Is an interesting kind of mix that you have here in your first year. One senior that you have, and then it's just experience needed. And the only way to get experience, as you know, is to get the experience. So talk to me about what this team is going to need to get that experience under their belt and be competitive here in 21 and 22.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest sayings, at practice is everything's fluid. You're fighting for a spot every day. When a new coach comes in, it's, who the returners are, but that doesn't guarantee anything. We got one senior, Julia Senadak, and she has some varsity experience. We have two other starters, Zeta Creaky, who was leading scorer on the team last year, great shooter, and Ayla Ray, who's a sophomore, who played a variety of positions last year. And then we have a lot of other juniors, sophomores, and freshmen who are filling the need for JV and varsity. We want to push the ball. We want to pressure the ball. We want to play hard on D, and it's that old grind it out type of mentality that, it's a lot of skill work. It's a lot of shell drill. It's a lot of trapping and getting trapped to practice and just getting used to the pressure, especially for the younger kids who don't have varsity experience. The speed of the game is just so much different.
I know from past experience that no matter who's on the floor, your expectation for greatness does not lower to anybody. It doesn't matter if you're playing the best team, the best team of the conference or the worst team on your schedule, so to speak. Your expectation for greatness and to compete never is second to anybody. So talk to me about that expectation for this year. Obviously, it's different having girls than boys and coaching girls than boys. And a lot of people actually prefer it sometimes because, and I don't want to ruffle any feathers with anybody, but I think you and I both know, and we've heard the old adage, girls listen a lot better than boys do at this level.
Some of them. But, you know what they do. And they're, it is different. It took a couple weeks to get reacclimated and with girls, but you look at like a guy like Aaron Blatch, who went from boys to girls and how successful he's being. And Aaron and I talk quite a bit. But, I like it, and it doesn't matter. Somebody told me, and I totally agree, that I don't coach girls basketball, I coach basketball. And whether you're a girl or a guy, you got to be physical, you got to be tough, you got to bring it. And the girls are buying in, and they're getting tougher and more physical every day.
So you're coaching basketball. It's a great way to look at it. And because there is that's what you're doing. There's one ball, there's two hoops, and whoever scores more is going to win the game. Talk about your expectations for this team in 21-22. What's the character? Have you been able to kind of put your finger on the character of this team yet?
The character is, they all come to work. And that took a little bit, but we had a great summer, going down to Huggins, really show them what physicality is. West Branch Summer League with great teams like West Branch and Salem and some others who are both on our schedule. The expectation this year is to compete in our league. The girls, they did not win a league game last year. And we have a good league. All D1 schools and some floaters between D1 and D2. And our schedule, Ursuline is the only D3 team. and they're better than the traditional, when you think D3 in terms of Ursuline. I think in girls athletics especially, division doesn't mean much. I mean, a lot of schools have players that are D1, D2, D3, or 4 that could be good teams. But the rest of our games, we have like 13 D1 opponents, 8 D2, and then Ursuline. And so, we want to compete in the AAC. We want to win some league games. I don't like to put a number on wins or whatever, but I think we're going to be able to compete and have a chance in most of our games.
And you think about it, that's what all you can ask out of your girls is to compete in the games. And being a first-year coach with this group and having I don't want to say an experienced group, but a young group of ladies that are coming out for basketball here this year, there's going to be some challenges. There's going to be some bumps and bruises early on. What are some of the things that you're looking to overcome early on and to have ironed out by the end of the year?
If we started today, we have an injury. So tonight we have a preview game at Liberty against Liberty. And I'll be starting 2 sophomores, 2 freshmen, and a junior. And, the scrimmages, they've all been getting better every time. We've scrimmaged some good teams like Gilmore Academy and Columbiana and Liberty. It's just to overcome that inexperience, and they've been doing that. So now tonight, even though it's only a half of a game, they will see what a real, atmosphere looks like and feels like, and just take a deep breath and you'll be fine. And I'll tell you, these younger kids and the older kids, there doesn't seem to be nerves as long as we keep positive and keep, explaining to them that it's a process. They'll be just fine. They're great competitors.
I think one of the best things and my favorite things about you, Jeff, is the fact that you, in every facet of your life, you continue to overcome adversity. What's one trait that you hope that the girls take from you onto the floor every night? Because as we know, a leader is someone that, when it goes downhill, they're embodied by their team. So what's one trait you hope, and not to pat yourself on the back, but honestly, what's one trait you hope the girls take from you?
I think that not giving up on things, things don't always go your way. Things don't always work out the way you want, but it's the next play mentality. You can't sulk about it. You can't pout about it. You can't dwell on it. You just got to move on and keep going and work hard, whether it's on the court or in a class or in life or a job, and don't take criticism from people you wouldn't ask advice from. It's one of those old things, like Dabo Sweeney says, it's just one of those things that you can't listen to outside noise or worry about people who don't have your best interests at heart.
All right, 2 more questions before I let you go. I know you're a busy guy. So first one, Austintown is a very special community, one that supports its athletics very, very well. What are you hoping that they come out and they see and they love about this team in 21 and 22?
Yeah, I've taught here half my life. I've coached here almost half my life. This is my 22nd or 3rd year coaching, and 20 of them have been here, 24th year teaching. And I can't say enough about the Austintown schools. And, it starts at the top with Mr. Capizzello, great superintendent, Russell Hauser, our AD, other administrators. They're going to see what Austintown's all about. And being an Austintown Fitch athlete is about hard work and a we over me mentality. I told Mr. Capizzello in my interview that he'll be proud when he comes to the games, and win or lose, there's no give up.
And finally, I have to ask, the kids doing well, obviously, your wife doing wonderful as always. Talk to me, as the kids get older, do they have an appreciation for what Daddy does?
Yeah, so Patrick's 5 now, and he knows I coach now. He just doesn't. They're back here on the wall here.
There you go.
And Sydney's 2.5, and she's a little spitfire. And so, yeah, they know that Dad coaches, and he, this time of year he's not as around as much, but whether it's going home, if I practice at 5, picking them up from school and just spending an hour with them, or and then after I get home, and they love coming to the games. They came up, took pictures with us the other day, and my wife is awesome. Dealing with coaching. Coaches' wives deal with a lot, and the time we put in. So, we're starting our youth skill sessions this Sunday, and Patrick's going to come up and work. And so, yeah, it's just good as they get older, kind of get them in the gym and start teaching them.
I'm a big fan, Jeff. I can't wait to do these coaches' corners with you again. Some of my favorite times were spent talking to you one-on-one, on and off the record. So thank you for joining us here today. We appreciate it. Best of luck this year, and we'll talk to you very soon, my friend.
TJ, thanks. YSN, like you said from the beginning, you become a really good friend, and I appreciate everything.
You got it, brother. Be well.
You too.
That was a fantastic interview with Jeff Wilson, the head coach of the Austintown Fitch girls basketball team. So guess what, Falcons? Taken care of.
Yep. In one day,
we got
too.
you in one day. Boom.
In one day, double dose, bam, bam. We got Coach Brian Beanie followed up with Coach Wilson, and both boys and girls basketball at Fitch. Yep, taken care of one day.
So we're going to take one more quick break, and we'll be back, and we're going to talk a little bit about Crestview Soccer and what they have in front of them on Saturday in a state championship. Don't want to leave them out because, when you're playing for a state championship, that's kind of a big deal. I mean, it's ho-hum, kind of a big deal. So we'll talk about Crestview's trip to Columbus and the team they're facing and what people should expect from that. And then we'll wrap up this show on Friday. Once again, Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. And Ty, sometimes they say we're saving the best for last, and I feel like maybe today with this Crestview Soccer State Championship game, no one's more excited about it than us, and we are saving kind of one of the most exciting things for the last thing we talk about today. Crestview going to play Grandview Heights tomorrow in the state championship game at the Columbus Crew Stadium in Columbus. Wow. This is the first state championship on the line for Crestview's athletic program, team sports. And in Grandview, this is only their second appearance too. So two teams that are very new to this atmosphere. Last year, Grandview lost in the regional final to Wheelersburg, so that's where they got last year. Obviously, they beat Madeira to get here to this point, 2-0 on. When was that? Was that Wednesday? Wednesday was the state semifinals. You look at some of their stats. Grandview has scored 75 goals and has allowed 25. That is a goal differential of plus 47. 16-4-2 is their record. They are led by Will DeVere. He has 19 goals, 10 assists. And then Luke Clark Moody is their goalkeeper. 116 saves. That's a big number. But it also means they're giving up a lot of shots on goal. And when you're doing that against a Crestview team, that this is unofficial. I don't want to put this out there as an official thing. But when you look at their max preps goals, they have scored 166 goals on the season. If that is confirmed, it's an OHSA record for goals in a season by a team. The record's 159. So Crestview on a record-breaking offensive season. And you look at a Grandview team that 116 saves means they tend to give up shots on goal a lot. Crestview might have a field day.
Yeah, no doubt. And that win against Ottawa Hills was so huge for them. That was so big. And you know what? It's you just feel something special in the air down there in Columbiana. Crestview as this Rebels team. They left, I believe, this morning to go down to Columbus. They're going to get a little bit of basically a day before the game, but it's going to be a very, very exciting time. And you just hope everyone on that team takes every single second and enjoys it. Yeah.
With the state championship, it comes, attention and pressure and all this, anxiety over a state. But at the end of the day, and I'm talking to the Crestview players and coaching staff, enjoy this moment. Enjoy the experience. State championships don't come every year. You're not anywhere close to guaranteed to getting back there next year. You would love to keep getting back to state championships. Don't get me wrong. You got to treasure it because it might not ever happen again. This is Crestview's first ever. So that tells you that it's not something that's happened a lot. So I hope that the Crestview boys and the coaches and the fans are making that trip down to Columbus just really soak it in.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to definitely be a tough road ahead, too. It always is to try to get back there. So that's why you always got to enjoy it while it lasts and enjoy it while it's here, because you never know if you'll get back there again.
So once again, their opponent is Grandview Heights, and that'll be tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I want to remind people that because we've been asked out the wazoo if we're going to have this game. The OHSA has a very strict partnership with Spectrum Sports. They have exclusive rights to live video of state championships. So unfortunately, YSN will not be there broadcasting this game because Spectrum Sports has the live video rights. We would have to spend a lot of money just to get the delayed video rights. And we are not loyal, local, and delayed. We are loyal, local, and live. So we will not have this broadcast, but you can find it through the OHSA platform of Spectrum Sports. Good news is if you're one of the unicorns in the area that is actually a Spectrum subscriber for Spectrum Cable, you're good. Don't have to pay for this game. Also, if your cable provider happens to have the Spectrum Sports channel, you're good. Otherwise, it'll be pay-per-view. I believe it's roughly the same as our football. $9.99 gets you access to that game for the state championship. But that is even more incentive to just go to Columbus and have a day for it.
Honestly, just go there and just support the team too.
They're playing in an MLS field. This has got, for people that love soccer, and obviously the kids love it, or else they wouldn't be playing it. This has got to be one of those moments that you just look around and you just got to pinch yourself. You're playing where some of the best players, the best players in the country, and some of the best players in the world kind of walk on. And you get to play on that field. That's got to be one of those moments where you look around and you just kind of have to pinch yourself every now and then. I say it with softball with the state because obviously Firestone Stadium is was the home of professional softball. So a lot of the big names in softball have walked on that field, and it's the same thing. You kind of walk in that dirt, and you walk in that pitcher circle, and you think, man, Cat Osterman pitched in this circle, and you got to pinch yourself a little bit if you're a softball player. Same thing with soccer. You walk into that stadium, and you just go, man, the Columbus Crew called this place home, and we get to play there.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's always an honor to get there, too, and just an honor to be playing on that field. And that's why you just soak it in. And that's why we said, too, go down there, too, especially. Make a day of it and, get out there and support, because this might be the only time, and this is the only time in Crestview history that it's happened. And it may never happen again. So you're witnessing history in either way. So get out there, support, and go watch some soccer for the Rebels too, and root them on as they try to bring one back home.
From everyone at Ysn, we can't express enough how hard we are going to be rooting for Crestview. We'll have coverage, we'll have stories, we'll have the graphics put up for final scores, everything like that we always do. And we might be talking about a state championship on Monday. Maybe we'll have to get a couple of state champions on the show.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that'll be at 1:00 on Saturday. Once again in Columbus, lower.com field, I believe it's what the naming rights are now. It used to be Metcalf Stadium.
Yeah.
And now it's lower.com field, the home of the Columbus Crew down in Columbus.
Wanted to give everyone the preview too next week. So far, what we have for basketball, just a few days preview. We'll get you through up until Wednesday. Of course, we know Saturday and Sunday, of course. First off, tonight on the network, we have our 3 games for $9.99 you can get for football to the Division III Canfield and 2 Division IV in West Branch and Ursuline. Tomorrow, we'll get you Divisions 5 through 7. 5 games are on the docket, same price, $9.99 for Saturday. Get you 5 games, as well as going into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for Running Point. At least we're going to be having Jason Wise from Waterloo boys basketball on Monday, and Tuesday Ursuline girls basketball coach Bernard Scott and Valley Christian boys basketball coach Dolph Carroll on Tuesday, and so far Mark Baker and Newton Falls girls basketball coach on Wednesday. So Newton Falls will be checked off of our list too. But that's just through Wednesday, and of course you never know when we're going to have a coach surprise us on a show.
We'll also be able to debut an interview with Michael Brown
on Monday.
Of West Branch boys basketball. We're going to be talking to him off the air after we get off the show to accommodate for his needs. So we'll have that interview for you on Monday's show as well.
Yeah, and we might be able to lead off Monday's show with that for you as well. We might be able to. That might be what you look forward to on Monday.
That will also be the check mark for West Branch.
Yep.
We talked to Walter Shields as one of the first guys we got.
Yep, no doubt at all. So we're looking into everything as we're covering Waterloo as well. I told you it's one of my sweetheart schools. I was going to get Waterloo in there.
Now we have to get Coach. It's a name that
I want to say
Logan Ecker.
Hold on. Yeah, I think it's Logan Ecker. I think actually. Because I was thinking of it. It was something. It's like it's an Ecker at the end. Yes, I was like, you said Logan. I think it is Logan Ecker. We're sorry if it isn't, but I think it is Logan Ecker.
I think it is. We're working.
I think it's Kevin Logan Ecker, honestly.
We are going to. This is. We're going to have other coaches that we are. There are other coaches we can't confirm yet, but we have in the works for next week as well. So stay tuned to our socials. We'll promote the show every day. And then if we get them confirmed, we'll promote them on this show the day before they come on. So definitely stay tuned. We are going to dive more and more into basketball previews. We've done a lot, but Ty, we got a lot to go. So we are not done by a long shot. Want to thank the coaches that came on today. Coach Beanie of Austintown Fitch boys basketball. Coach Scott Silvesco from Hubbard Girls, and we thank him for his time. And then, of course, Craig Hannon, the head coach of the Girard boys basketball team. We thank him for his time as well today.
We also thank, of course, our owner, DJ Oakley, and Coach Jeff Wilson taking their time to conduct that interview, to let it debut on our show. First time seen here on the network, too. So we got both Fitch's coaches back-to-back on here for you.
Fitch taken care of. That will do it for today's episode of Running Point. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. Power Hour from 3 to 4. And then football's got you wrapped up for the rest of the night. So YSN owns the night, and you shouldn't be anywhere else other than YSN. And then after the games, you know where you should be? 21 WFMJ for the Overtime Report. They do a great job over there. Last week was, I believe, their 400th episode of the Overtime Report on WFMJ. We congratulate them for that. So tune in to 401 because that 101 episode is always just okay, let's get to 500. It's always got a lot of energy. So get over to WFMJ after the games for all the highlights and recaps as well. We love our partners at WFMJ, and make sure it's a full night. Then Saturday, you got Crestview State Championship. You have 5 more playoff games that evening. Once again, 9 gets you access to every game on the network Saturday night as well as tonight. So make sure you tune in wherever you are watching from.
I believe Sunday too. We have our fantasy.
Yep.
Or looking on fantasy too. That at 12 o'clock, I believe that is.
DJ Oakley and Greg Brown, and that's a fun time as well.
So we still have content for you even on the weekend. So there's nothing shy here on YSN.
Me and Ty, though, we're taking a 70-hour break. We'll be back on Monday from 12 to 2. Until then, have a great weekend and go support local sports.